anxiety, distress, that's the way that I get things done. From now to depression, gonna sleep too long, and I hang around like a bomb. I think I'm going nowhere, and that makes me nervous. Everybody's out to get me, but I feel alright. Everybody's out to get me, but I feel alright. Everybody's out to get me, but I feel alright. Everybody's thinking about me, but I feel alright. Everybody's out to get me, but I feel alright.
Jim Sterling here at Mississippi Comic Con. All of the highlights, all of the excitement. Let's have a look at what I got up to, shall we?
Winning it? No, they did. That one does not recognize you. That was not recognizing.
Last year, one person. My stock, my profile has risen 5 times.
The last
5 times.
The last
five
one
times.
thought he was a generic steampunk cosplayer. That's not 5.
Booker T, 5 times. I won't do the voice. I'll give you exposure for everything on the table. That's a really good deal and watched by at least 10 people. Alright, 2 exposures. 3 exposures? Can't be dealt with. Artists can't be dealt with. Stuck up. Stuck up.
You're more popular than I give you any credit for. Because to me, you're always going to be my Zinzi. And I love it.
I'm the winner.
You have to rub it the fuck in. That's popularly known as a dip boob.
One big story from E3 2017 that we didn't cover in last week's Winners and Losers is cross-platform play. It's a unique situation that deserves its own dedicated coverage, plus it's hard to put in a Winners and Losers roundup since it involved a mix of both. Specifically, people who primarily play games on PC, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch were winners, while PS4 players have lost out significantly thanks once again to Sony's questionable decision-making. Here's the backstory for those who missed out. Cross-platform play between PC and console is nothing new. In fact, the PlayStation brand has benefited from the arrangement several times, going as far back as 2002 with Final Fantasy XI on the PS2. While console players and PC players being able to enjoy the same game online together is an old, if uncommonly worn hat, it's a popular idea that got a lot more popular at E3 when Microsoft revealed not just cooperation with the PC version of its games, but with other console versions as well. Specifically, the never-endingly beloved Minecraft, which Microsoft owns these days, will allow people to play together whether they're using an Xbox One, PC, mobile, virtual reality set, and most importantly, Nintendo Switch. Yes, if you're playing Minecraft on your Switch, you can play with a friend who might happen to own it on Xbox One instead. Hooray! Sorry. Keep that in. Bolstering this news was the reveal that Rocket League, everyone's favourite vehicular soccer experience, would follow suit, with the Nintendo Switch version able to interact with established versions on Xbox One and PC. These are but 2 games, yet their popularity is undeniable and the statement they make is obvious. The world is ready for the arbitrary walls to come down, and the industry as well as the audience can benefit when companies stop jealously hoarding their gold and start working together. Apparently the Street Fighter and the Tekken people have been doing that lately, just sort of sharing code and that. But everyone benefits. People benefit when people work together. One company though, as of yet, is not prepared to embrace the new order of the world, and just like with Skyrim and Fallout 4 mods, has declared with inaction that its PlayStation 4 system will feature inherently, objectively inferior versions of the product sold on competing systems. That company is, naturellement, Sony. While Rocket League can be enjoyed between Switch, Xbox One and PC players, those kicking around on the PS4 will be stuck fiddling with each other in private. Yes, we're in a world where Nintendo is more open to an idea featuring online connectivity no less, than Sony is. As weird as that sounds, there's actually a weird sensibility to it, even if Sony's behaving far from sensibly at the moment. In the case of Minecraft, at least, there is a logical thread we can follow to see why the PS4's disinvited itself from the party. See, because Microsoft never misses an opportunity to shove one of its proprietary services down your throat until you ask for more, the Nintendo Switch version of Minecraft will require an Xbox Live account. To be fair, Microsoft has put forth a fairly decent argument for this, stating that since it runs Minecraft regardless of system, it needs to know who the players are, run the system for parental controls, and allow for a customer's content purchases to be available on all platforms. From Sony's perspective though, you can see why they'd be leery about having Xbox Live anywhere near the PlayStation Network. Sony and Microsoft are as close to bitter rivals as you could get in the game industry. Hell, they say Microsoft got into the game industry to chip away at Sony's dominance. There's the case to be made that Sony's being really overly protective here, but one can at least see the point, the reasoning behind the decision, even if the decision itself is disagreeable. Why is it not a problem for Nintendo then? I think, quite frankly, the reason is that Nintendo doesn't give a fuck. It's always behaved somewhat independently from the rest of the video game industry, marching to the beat of its own drum, and while I roll my eyes when other companies lie and say they don't consider their rivals to be competition, I do believe there's a sincerity to Nintendo's own aloofness. The company isn't conventional competition because it often behaves so outside the realm of convention. This individuality can be a weakness, like when a GameCube era Nintendo didn't think online gaming was a big deal, but here's one of the cases where it's advantageous. Nintendo's not threatened by other companies. It lives and dies by its own unique, sometimes bizarre maneuvers, so collaborating with Microsoft is no big deal. As seen by several brand crossovers and the publishing of games like Bayonetta 2, Nintendo is more than willing to play with others than the traditionally minded, closely guarded Sony. A company that, for history's sake, got into the industry after a deal with Nintendo got fucked quite badly. Funny, PlayStation happened because Nintendo, Xbox happened because PlayStation. Now if only they could all get along. But anyway, there are enough logical threads to understand and perhaps sympathise with Sony vis-a-vis Minecraft regardless of one's agreement with it. Rocket League though? Come the fuck on, Sony. No, like come the fuck on. Rocket League developer Psyonix has said the only thing stopping Rocket League going cross-platform on PS4 is Sony's permission. That's it. Apparently, all Psyonix would need to do is check a box on a fucking website and within the hour, Rocket League players could interact regardless of hardware. Yet Sony, you won't just nod your head. You'll let this game, Spear of Destiny, this game be fucking sold on the PlayStation Network like that's okay. Like that's somehow not morally and philosophically fucked up. But you're really going to hold out on cross-platform play? Or rather, cross-console play, since, let's face it, that's the real bone of contention here. Well, let's see just what in the heck Sony's thinking, since Sony has heckin' responded. It's certainly not a profound philosophical stance we have against this, said Sony's Jim Ryan. We've done it in the past. We're always open to conversations with any developer or publisher who wants to talk about it. Unfortunately, it's a commercial discussion between ourselves and other stakeholders, and I'm not going to get into the detail of that on this particular instance, and I can see your eyes rolling. Well, yeah, Jim Ryan, not that one. Of course our eyes are rolling because you just said nothing. In fact, I'm about to follow up what you said with another quote. Here it comes. Devil-worshipping paedophiles basically run the New World Order. They love death and they love killing babies. Now, nobody from Sony said that. That was said by conspiracy theorist and toilet person Alex Jones. It is, however, a better statement regarding cross-platform play than Sony's official upchuck of corporate gibberish. Speaking of the children's though, that was the next excuse Jim Ryan cooked up, claiming it has to be mindful of its install base and that Minecraft players are very young. According to Ryan, we have a contract with the people who go online with us that we look after them and they are within the PlayStation curated universe, exposing what in many cases are children to external influences we have no ability to manage or look after. It's something we have to think about very carefully. Way to shit all over Microsoft's ability to manage its shit, though. Anyway, when Eurogamer correctly pointed out the utter bollocks of this justification by contrasting it with the oppressively kid-friendly Nintendo being all in, Jim Ryan's response was to say everybody has to make their own decisions. If he'd have just responded with,
"Yeah, well, you know, that's just like, your opinion, man,"
I think I'd have been more satisfied with the answer. Sony clearly doesn't want to just come out against cross-console play altogether, and may in fact just be waiting to see how it does before jumping in. In the meantime though, the industry has spoken, and the industry says this is now a thing. By holding out, Sony risks looking like a latecomer, and currently enjoys the position of being a fucking joy kill, unable to give one developer the nod to do something Microsoft and Nintendo are plenty happy with. Right now, of course, Sony doesn't have much to worry about. The PS4 install base is solid as a fucking rock, having carved out a strong and well-defended position for the 8th console generation. But that's the problem with these hardware manufacturers, these platform holders. When they're on top, they can't seem to stop themselves beginning the process of burrowing to the bottom. They get complacent, they get arrogant, and they believe themselves above the industry. Sony itself enjoyed the results of that attitude last generation. Hot off the PlayStation 2's dominance of Generation 6 and massive mainstream appeal, the $599 US PS3 was announced with smug preening from Sony and crickets from the rest of the world. Many of you may remember Sony's classic response to questions regarding the high price. Get a second job. Yes, Sony told its fans to get another job to afford their system, so bullishly confident they were in the PlayStation brand. FYI, the Wii absolutely slaughtered everything that generation, while the Xbox 360 did a pretty good job of kicking the PS3's fucking teeth in. Not that Microsoft and Nintendo are immune to the same issues, with the Xbox One essentially playing the PS3's role this generation, up to and including arrogant, shitty responses to genuine concerns.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message if you don't like it?
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device.
Meanwhile, the Wii went straight to the Wii U, with Nintendo sitting on its laurels and expecting the Wii name to do all the selling. It had the opposite effect, with a confused customer base sticking to the Wii they knew. It took the Switch for Nintendo to punch its way back into the console scene. Anyway, the point of this reminiscence is that Sony needs to watch its fucking step. Because this is an industry without a president for life. History has shown that no one company gets to stay atop the pile forever, and the decline begins when the current ruler of the roost grows lazy on its throne, ignoring not just its audience but the industry as a whole. The PS4 is already the place with the shittest versions of Bethesda's games. Even after they allowed mods, Sony still restricted them to the point of innate inferiority, and it's now the place with the shittest versions of Minecraft and Rocket League. Doesn't matter how important you personally think cross-platform is either. Just like last time, the cold fact on the table is that the PS4 versions will have reduced functionality, will miss a feature, will be lesser than the other versions. And is that what the PlayStation brand is? The brand of the lesser? The brand of the restricted? The brand of shackles and leashes and not the fun type? Until it bucks its fucking ideas up, yes. Until it bucks its fucking ideas up, the PlayStation brand is the brand of the loser, and that won't change no matter how much exclusive DLC it fucking buys off third parties. Sort it out. We didn't film very much. Yeah. Thank God for me. I can fucking complain if I don't say it.